Hey, it's Adam Paddock, and you're watching my episode of Fangirls Only.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Fangirls Only. I'm your host, Vanessa Bermo, and today we have on Adam Paddock. So, how are you?
What up? I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. This is so quick, so cool.
Perfect. All right, so we're getting right into it, the hardest question at first. So, which song of yours feels the most like personal right now to you and why? But if it's too deep, just don't have to say the why.
No, totally. Oh my God. All I've listened to in the past 2 days is the whole Noah Khan album. So that's like all the only thing that's floating through my head. But of my songs, the one that's probably the most personal is The Greatest Compromise. It's the title track off of the album that I released in October. It means a lot to me for a lot of reasons. It's about one of my good buddies who's since passed, and he really just inspired me in a lot of ways and gave me a new perspective on life. And I think that that song will always be personal to me. And it's cool that I can write about that experience now in a different context. And while it might be a little bit sad in that song, there are more songs coming that are more hopeful and exciting and less from a sad place and more from like a hopeful place, you know?
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's okay. It happens, you know. It just happened for me
Slay.
recently. Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. And but I love this song. It's called "The Greatest Compromise," and it's been really cool seeing the amount of people that have connected with it, or just the messages more so even than the quantity. And that's been really sick as I've posted about it and stuff. So not to be a downer right off rip, but that song is super personal to me.
All right, so how has your sound evolved from Sweet Ohio Light to the Greatest Compromise?
Well, thanks for listening back to that. That really means a lot. I think yeah, you did your homework. Let's go.
Yeah.
Uh, the Sweet Ohio Light was very much more of a rocky sound. I mean, very much a band sound. And while that is a good thing, I do think that taking the step to kind of figure out what my specific voice sounds like and what has been and drawing from inspirations that have been inspiring me, obviously, recently. I think The Greatest Compromise has a lot more of what I specifically personally like out of it. And so that's kind of where you get some of the more singer-songwriter elements of it. Some of it even leans a bit folky, but I think from the Sweet Ohio Light kind of pop rock, but like still ballad-esque album to the more singer-songwriter pop rock thing, I think that's every record I'm trying to become more and more true to what the sound that I'm meant to make. And so, yeah, I think those are some of the major differences. Is just the genre shifted a little bit, and the process went from a little bit more of a team effort to a little bit more of I took a lot more of the burden of the creation on myself happily.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of what it sounds.
All right, so oh my God. Speaking of Ohio, you moved from Ohio to Nashville for your career. So how did
Mhm.
that shift your career or like mindset?
Yeah, I mean, when I moved almost, I guess it would have been 3 years ago now. It's just a different city entirely. The people are better everywhere else. Like in Ohio, I think that it's just such a sweet and ironic. It's such a sweet demographic, and the community there is so much less judgmental and obviously not clout chasey because you live in Ohio. How clout chasey can you be? But in Nashville, I mean, my network expanded, my professional sense really improved. There were a lot of things that helped the business side of it and like the team element. But my heart is in Ohio. My heart is anywhere but in Nashville. I've got a lot of really good friends down there, and I think that someday I won't be living there. But right now, I'm enjoying it.
Right, so when you do shows, what do you most wait, what? Oh my God, I cannot speak English today.
You're
When
right.
you do shows, what do you want people to feel like when they're like exiting or like walking out of the show? Like what
I
emotion?
mean, from totally from the beginning to the end, I just want them to feel like they belong to be well, same.
Yeah.
From the beginning, from when they walk in and to walk out, the mantra that we live with is people are the point. All of our merch says that. I want people to come in if they're coming in solo. walk out with a friend or two, or even if they don't walk out with a friend or two, because I know that can be daunting for some people, walk out of there feeling like they were a little bit more a part of something than they were before. So that's kind of the goal. All in all, I just love making friends and I love being the conduit for community. So whatever I can do to force two friend groups together, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it every single time.
I mean, a lot of my friendships that I have now are from concerts, so concert besties for
You
life,
get it.
I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I feel like most of your listeners are probably folks that feel like sharing that sentiment to you.
Mhm.
So I love it.
All right. So every artist, big or small, is still thinking about themselves as an artist, like especially these days because the industry is so competitive. So what is
Mhm.
something you're still working on or figuring out yourself as an artist these days?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question.
A long question.
Yeah. What am I working on myself? Well, from each record to like from record to record, I do think that I'm trying to just improve, not just in terms of the reach that the albums get to be heard by, but the quality. And I think that something that I'm diving a lot into is, and just what I've been inspired by is the lyrical depth of a lot of the folks that I'm listening to these days. Because I mean, in pop music, most of the lyrics aren't going to blow your mind in terms of, unless they're witty, unless the lyrics are witty, they probably won't be all that deep in something that you'd get tattooed unless it was fun, you know? So I'm trying to really lean into the side of lyricism that does take that deep and does take the extra time to not sacrifice one line just to finish the song, you know? So it's something I'm improving upon, and I'm excited for the next project that I'm going to put out because it feels like it's lyrically really interesting and sonically really interesting. Whereas my first album felt pretty sonically interesting, my second album felt a step forward in sonic interest, but a serious step forward lyrically. And I'm trying to do both now.
Do you think that you like found your sound now, or are you still working on it?
I think that my sound will always evolve. I don't think that any album is going to sound the exact same, or even like it was made in the same era. Like, even from the first album to the second album, it sounds so much more acoustic and vocal forward. And I really like that. And maybe that's just right now, but I'm going to be making music till I die. So I'm going to have a lot of time to make a lot of records.
All right. So you're finishing up your tour tomorrow, which by the time I'm filming, well, by the time this uploads, is probably be over.
Mm.
So what was your most chaotic tour moment from this tour?
No,
Sorry.
you're totally fine. I get the question. I get it. That's a good question. Um,
Like the most memorable, I guess.
Chaotic and memorable. I feel like I guess they could be the same. I'm trying to backtrack through which ones we just did. Um, I think that I mean honestly, yesterday's was pretty insane. Like for really funny. This past week has been mainly college shows,
Mm.
which are always fun,
Yeah.
but a little bit different, and they come with different challenges and different victories for sure.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much. And yesterday it was like 95 degrees on stage, and all of our tech like exploded and overheated and everything.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
I had to do a bunch of songs acoustic, which was not ideal, but I think it ended up really making for a special moment where I was just taking requests from people in the crowd. And I mean, I have a handful of acoustic tunes that I could always just pull out of my back pocket. But as we were putting ice on the computer and as we were putting shade on all of the tech,
That's
I
crazy.
mean, it was a long time.
A little
So
mini fireworks show.
pretty much, I had to really be creative to make it work, and I did. So I think that was pretty memorable just from this past like week. These last two shows have been not necessarily a part of a tour because I've got a big tour coming up in October. That's kind of what like leaning towards. This has just been more of the spring season of shows. You know what I mean?
It's like a prep for the big tour, I guess.
Yeah, totally, exactly. These are shows where we're getting a lot of rehearsal, a lot of practice, and it helps us fund the headlining stuff where it's more on our neck than other people's.
True. All right. So another question about tour. How do you prepare like mentally and physically for tour or shows? Like,
Well,
is there like,
yeah,
yeah.
totally. I'm an over practicer. I really spend a lot of time preparing. I like to think the mentality of like, if I know that I'm as prepared as I can humanly be, then that's really the only headspace that I want to perform in, especially when I'm headlining. I remember I kind of locked in on that in 2024, I think, when I opened for Jeremy Zucker and Chelsea Cutler, and I was putting a lot on my shoulder, a lot of pressure on myself, you know? And I think that putting that pressure on myself then yielded an amazing result. And on the backside of that, I was like, wow, I think that this is a good formula for me. It might be a lot of time, but allowing me to refine everything and like allowing obviously some space for relaxed conversation with the crowd and stuff. But on the performance side of it, just be really, really dialed in. I mean, I'm just a rehearser, like by myself, day in, day out, listening through the whole set, morning to night, all that stuff. So.
I mean, especially for big tours like that, you gotta like really impress the crowd because there's probably like new fans in the audience. So,
Totally. I mean, I just want people to walk out of there knowing that it was the best I could give them, and especially when people are going to spend money and time, and probably inviting a friend or two or whatever like that. I really want people to feel rewarded, and next time they'll come back and maybe do it again.
so when you're listening to your old songs, do you feel like they still like represent who you are today as an artist?
Yeah, I do think so because I mean, who I am isn't a snapshot right now. Who I am is the time that it took to get here as well. You know, the journey is just as much a part of the present as like this conversation. You know, so some of the songs I might think are outdated and not necessarily what I'm capable of now. Uh, I think that I was just talking about that with a couple fans yesterday. They were like, "Oh, but we love these old ones." But in my head, it's so easy to get detached from those because it's been 5 years since I released some of those songs, and I think that I'm getting better all the time, or I'm trying to get better all the time. And listening back to those, I sometimes need that added context from fans to know that, all right, this thing's real, and those old songs don't suck, you know?
So this is the last question. So what do you want your music to mean to people 10 years from now?
Oh, well, I hope in 10 years I'm still making music and touring everywhere and giving everybody new stuff. I hope that I'm in a place in my life where that's so doable. I'm trying to build my life that way, at least. In 10 years, I want it. I would love to grow up with this fan base in so many ways that a fan of other artists. It's so cool seeing a fan base kind of grow up with me and new people find me recently and I'm not looking for a flash in the pan moment. I'm looking for a real career, and I want to be 65 years old, and all of us are old and decrepit and whatever, and we're all still showing up to a show, even if I
Well,
can't give you
tribute
like
concert. Oh, not tribute
exactly
concerts.
tribute to myself. Yeah, I love it.
Like
Yeah.
imagine one day you perform at like a fan's wedding. Like
Oh,
you get to like sing
well,
their first song.
I want that so bad. I've had a few of my songs played at weddings as their first dance songs, but I
Wow.
haven't been able to be there, which
Mm.
sucks. Well, literally less than a year ago that happened, and it killed me that I couldn't be there because I had a really big show that day. But it was cool. I got videos from it and made me really happy. I was honored to be invited. So
So that was all the questions. So thank you so much for coming on. It's great having you.
thank you so much for having me. Yeah, maybe I'll see you out on a tour date one of these days in the fall or something.
Manifesting. Okay.
Okay.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks.